N.U.B.Y.net.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a very first special episode of the N.U.B.Y Academy. I'm your host, Jason Love, aka Mr. Love, aka the curator of culture, and I'm joined by two fantastic co-hosts with me here today. I have Dr. Jeanette Russell and soon to be Dr. Dennis Griffin. How y'all doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
There we go.
I'm doing great. Just glad to be here.
All right. Now, the main question that everybody is wondering is, what is the N.U.B.Y Academy podcast? So we're a group of lifelong learners that are here to discuss some academic topics. So basically, we are talking school, and we're talking from various perspectives, whether that's instructional, cultural, from a leadership standpoint, community-based, political, just all the different ways that we can take school and the topics of academic and deliver them to an audience in a way that they all can understand. Because at the end of the day, we know that everyone has some sort of connection to either going to school or working at a school or being a parent and having kids at the school. We all know the community is connected somehow to schools, and we hope that everyone can enjoy this. Also, this is a platform where we can showcase ourselves and showcase some of our future guests. So we'll kick things off with some staff intros. First up, Dr. Russell, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Jason Love. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Dr. Jeanette Russell. I am a former classroom teacher. I'm also a mom, first of all, a wife. My role is very dynamic. I have the pleasure of working with novice teachers right now. I work in higher education. I've been doing that for about 7 years at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I also work in ed tech, so I'm in the ed tech space right now. I work for a company called Lexia. But overall, in the education field, I have probably close to 2 decades worth of experience. I've taught just about every grade level from the K-4 all the way up to high school English.
Okay. Now, Mr. Dennis Griffin, what's going on? Tell them about yourself.
Man, I'm just glad to be here with both of you. My name is Dennis Griffin Jr. I am currently the proud principal of Brown Deer Elementary School. This is my 6th year at Brown Deer. I have served in the principal capacity for 11 years. I was a teacher for 7 years. So I'm close to 20 years, which is truly amazing, and glad because I get to impact the lives of students and get to connect with so many great educators. And more importantly, I get to help shape the future, shape communities, and just give people the ability to become a lifelong learner. I have 2 beautiful daughters, and for our very first episode, I love wearing bow ties, but I did wear a special one just for you guys. My daughter is graduating from Vanderbilt this year, and this past weekend, Vanderbilt beat the #1 team in the country, Alabama. So it was a very big celebration at their school, and I thought, what better way to continue the celebration than to wear the Vanderbilt bow tie for our first show together.
Definitely. That's what's up. Last but not least, me, I'm Mr. Love. I'm in my 5th year serving as the assistant principal at Brown Deer Elementary alongside Mr. Dennis Griffin. I was a teacher for about 6 years. I taught 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th grade. Overall, this is my 9th year, though, as an administrator. I also did a year as a dean of students. The rest, I've been an assistant principal. Most of my career had been in charter schools until I came to Brown Deer Elementary, which is public. Now, before even getting into teaching, I served about 5 years as a paraprofessional in the Milwaukee Public School District. So overall, full-time years, I'm somewhere floating around you two and floating around Doc, somewhere close to 20 years altogether. So now that you kind of know who we are, we got to talk about how we came together and how this whole N.U.B.Y Academy podcast thing, this trio came together, this triangle offense we got. So first up, Doc and DG, how do you guys know each other? How did this come to be?
You want to go first, Dennis? Or you want me to explain how we
If I go first, I'm gonna tell the whole truth, and I'm not sure you want me to tell the whole truth about how we know each other.
Well, I'll start. We first met. I was probably 17. We met through Marquette University. We were both in the Educational Opportunity Program, or EOP. I'm from the Chicago area, so I came over to Milwaukee the summer of 1997. Now I'm telling my age, 1998, 97. So yes, Dennis and I met the summer of in the
99.
summer of 99. You're saying it's 99, okay? And we were in the same program together. That's how we officially met. And we went through Marquette, went through the program, and we pretty much, that's how we met. Dennis, what do you have to add to that before you
Well,
go?
I'm gonna add the rest of the truth.
Spreading lies.
I'm gonna add the rest of the truth, Mr. Love. People might not know this, but Dr. Russell was very, very competitive, and we
Very
had some really
competitive.
good mutual friends. And we would
Okay.
always just hang out and we would play cards. And one day, Dr. Russell was saying something about some game called Speed, and I'm a pro at Speed. I'm like, I didn't want to say nothing right away, Mr. Love. You know, I'm super competitive.
Right,
And
right.
all of a sudden, she's going through everybody in the room, just taking no prisoners. And I was like, I'll play once. From that moment, she has been chasing me ever since. Out of the 100 times we played, I think she beat me twice. And one of those times, I just let her win because she, you know how you tie, you're supposed to deal the cards again and go
Right.
again. She swore up and down that she got her card down first. And I'm like, well, I'm up like 100 games. Go ahead, you can have that one.
I will have to say that is a lie. That is not the truth. I have several witnesses who would know that I did win all the games that we played against each other.
That's what you say. You also think you won in space too, but I'm not going to bring that up either.
Okay.
So now we gonna jump ahead in that timeline to where I crossed paths with Dr. Russell. So this had to be around 2000, I want to say 2010, 2011.
2010.
Yep, we started working together at a charter school north side of Milwaukee called Young Leaders Academy. I was there as a first grade teacher. I think, Doc, you started it with the older kids, right?
I started as a 7th grade teacher, and I thought you
Yep.
were a 5th grade teacher.
Well, I was first grade first, and then my second year they had me work with 5th grade, and then after that, my third year I went back to first. And when I went back to first, so my third year there, Doc was in first as well, and our classrooms were like directly across the hallway from each other.
Right.
And yep.
And I taught 7th grade my first year. I know, Mr. Love, we came in together with a group of maybe about 9 new teachers. It was a pretty big group of us. 9 new teachers, and I started 7th grade, and you had first grade, and we connected when I started teaching first grade, and we became partners, and that's it.
Yeah, and then from there, a new charter opened up by one of our leaders at Young Leaders Academy. Had an opportunity to bring a new charter from Philadelphia, which was Universal Academy, was coming to Milwaukee. We were both recruited to come over to Universal. So over there, it was a no-brainer. They put us together in the same grade level, and we taught. We were teams on the same grade level team for 2 years there. We taught first grade, then we both moved up to 2nd grade with our students there. So we kept it going. Also, while we were there and at Young Leaders Academy as well, they had these competitions. So I'm gonna talk about it real quick. So I'm proud of this. They had these annual competitions, and they would be theme based. And you could either go up there solo with your class, and it was mandatory. Everybody in the building had to participate. It was no like sitting out. Your class had to perform. They were theme based. Now at Young Leaders Academy, they had the tradition started there. Now I was semi-successful over there. One year they did the Wiz. My group when I taught 5th grade, we had the Ease On Down the Road song. We got gold for that. So I got one gold trophy over there. And then when we came over, clap it up. And so then when we came over to I'm losing my track. Over to Universal, we had the same sort of competition, and the theme was, what was first? Was it the 90s or was it Will Smith? It was one of them. Or was it both?
When did we do the Michael Jackson experience?
That was at Universal. We did both. One year I think it was the 90s, and we chose. No, first was Michael Jackson. You right. First was the Michael Jackson experience, and you could choose anything you wanted. Now, one thing people don't know about Doc Doc had dance moves and like choreography and stuff like that. I was way too cool for the dance. Gangsters don't dance, we boogie. So I didn't know how to do none of that. And we taught side by side, and like just a little more background. That classroom was like all of the like the little dudes that wasn't cool, but had all the girls that was cool. My class all had all the boys that was cool. All the little girls.
But you know they were cool because they would feed off you. So the boys in your room were cool because they would feed off you. And I ended up with boys that wanted to go in your room so they could end up feeding off you as well.
So when I tell you we combined and joined forces for this Michael Jackson theme, dude, and destroyed it, like Kilton won first place overall, and this was like K4 through 12th grade or 8th grade at the time, because it was like multi-campuses. And we killed it. You don't remember that, Doc? We shut it down with that Michael Jackson medley.
I remember Michael Jackson. I don't remember what grade levels were competing at that time.
It was all of them. Nobody was spared. We won over everybody. Then the next year they said it's a 90s theme, and we chose Will Smith. And we did a medley of Will Smith. And when I tell you, we cleaned up at that too, me and Doc. So that was when we knew we were super competitive, but we knew working together couldn't be stopped. Then a new campus opened up. Universal opened another campus at Lee Elementary School. And by this time, me and Doc was ready to leave out of the classroom. So this was my first year outside the class. I had just got my master's. So I took on a role of a dean of students there. And Doc took over an instructional coach position. So we got to work together on the same leadership team. And that's probably a whole other episode. Why Young Leaders Academy and Universal could be two separate episodes that we can expand on for a long time. So I don't even want to get too many details on that, because that's definitely must-see TV when we discuss how everything unfolded and how that worked. But sure enough, we stayed together all through that. And then fast forward some more. So Universal folded. By then, Doc was in MPS. I was still looking for another administrator position. And I went downtown. I was with MCFI, had two charter schools in the inside. It was Wells Street Academy and CETA School for Early Development and Achievement. And across the street from there was Milwaukee Academy of Science, which was like this huge charter that had been around almost 20 years. And I got a chance to meet their CEO. He came over to our building for a meeting because we were going to share some buses since we were so close. Long story short, I go over there the following year as an assistant principal there. I was there going into the pandemic. So I was there the year before the pandemic. The second year was the pandemic. There was a leadership opening available. Gave it my best, didn't get it. I kind of disagreed with the decision that was made. I'll leave it at that because that could be a whole other episode too. Didn't agree with what took place. I jumped on the internet. I'm looking for something. I need elementary assistant principal. I'm refreshing on this site that we go to look at these job posts, and I see Brown Deer Elementary. I don't know nothing about Brown Deer Elementary at the time. I know the area. Growing up, it was an area your parents told you don't drive through there if you look like us, because you might get pulled over. But I'm like, man, I'm gonna get online. I get on their website. I look through the staff. I'm like, we got a black principal. I'm like, oh, okay, that might be all right. I apply. I go through, I think it was 2 rounds, and it was virtual because it was the pandemic. So I'm suit jacket, tie on, this and that up top, basketball shorts and flip-flops down on the bottom, and I'm on Zoom on here with all these people I don't know. I did the first round, and Mr. Griffin, who was the principal, he gave me a call after that first round. And it's rare that ain't never happened to me before. And he told me how good I did in that first round. And at that time, if you knew how Dennis carried himself, and it was with intention, I thought he was older than me. So I'm like, man, this OG looking out for me. He motivated me. So I'm finna go into this next round feeling like, man, I can't let him down, because he said he saw something in my responses that made him feel like I might be a good candidate. And I don't know if in my head, I'm like, he might tell everybody that, but I just took it as he called me, and he called nobody else. So I go into the second round, I do my thing. Then it's the waiting game for a little bit, but then I get it. And so it was like, I felt so good that I got that, because then I was able to tell my last school, like, man, I got options. I'm leaving. I didn't like the decision. And it turned into a great decision, like a life-changing decision. Like I still got love for Milwaukee Academy of Science to this day. But I came over with Dennis over to Browndale Elementary. I'm still there now. I feel like we got a lot going on. We building, we achieving at a high level. I'm learning so much from him. And one thing that I tell him when I got there, it was like every day was kind of like professional development for me, because up until that point, as a leader, my whole focus was culture and behavior. Like I was the behavior guy as an administrator. And when I came there, one of the first things he said was, "We're gonna get you out that box. I want you to think about your instructional leadership." I had heard of PLC meetings, but like I said, in my last role, since I was all behavior, I wasn't even invited to those. It was like the teachers and the other administrators had those meetings, and I was left with the culture and the climate team, the people that basically focused on behavior. And we would have our own separate meetings in the building, and not even with the people that made the instructional decisions. So when I got to Brown Deer, and Dennis welcomed me into those meetings, and I got to see how he ran them and the interaction and the input from everybody. I was like, oh, okay, I made a good choice. If I want to really get in my bag and get nice at what I'm doing, I'm definitely in the right place. And so that's kind of like how we all connected. And then when I got there, Doc hit me up and was like, "Oh, you gonna be at Brown Deer with DG?" And I'm like, "Who's DG?" And then she said that was Dennis. And I'm like, I know she ain't calling my OG DG. Like, that's my OG. And she was like, "No, he like your age." And I never said, I'm gonna move on, because I'm gonna say how I knew he was my age. And I never said this to him before. I came to the building before the school year started, and I was getting a tour by him and the other assistant principal at the time. And we was walking through the hallways, and it's an empty building. And he jumped and he slapped the top of the thing like he was slapping a backboard just walking through the hall. And I stopped. Now in my head, I'm like, dude, I know this 50-something-year-old dude act here, air hoop, like he doing like these and doing layups and slapping and stuff as we walking. I'm like, hold up, dude. That's like what I was thinking in my head I want to do, but I'm not doing it because I'm walking with them. And then at that point, and then from her saying that, I had to get on Facebook and get to investigate. And I found out we knew a bunch of the same people. They all was like, dude, he like your age. And so when I finally asked him, he was like, yeah, he's like, don't tell nobody. But that's how I found out. Like, we was in the same little age bracket. But that's full circle how we all came together, and that's how we were able to present to you what we're presenting with this group that we have. So that's great, kind of like how that all came about. Now, our topic. We can finally get to our topic. We did the background. We won't have this long background, everybody, every time, but since it's the first episode, we had to get all that out the way. So now we can jump straight to the topic. We're in October. Basically the first full week of October. So the school has been in for about a month. Now, what was on everyone's mind going into this school year, and what's your focus now? And I know we're coming from three different perspectives. We'll start with you, Doc. Going into this school year, what was on your mind?
Well, like you said, we're coming with three different lenses and three different perspectives. And right now, this school year, I didn't go into a traditional classroom setting like I'm so used to going into. I'm not too far removed from the classroom. But going into this school year and working with novice teachers and my pre-service teachers, I'm always making sure that they have what they need before they go into a classroom. For example, if I'm working with student teachers right now during a student teaching seminar course, I'm making sure they have what they need and that they're prepared before they go into a classroom. And so that's my lens with my pre-service students. But then on the other hand, working with an ed tech company, I'm making sure my teachers in the districts that I currently work with have what they need as far as a resource or a tool for literacy instruction. So I'm looking at it in different ways. So I'm just making sure teachers have what they need in order to be successful and just setting teachers up for success. So it's all about making sure teachers are set up for success so they can give students what they need and so they can pour into their students.
All right, so I'm gonna swing it over to Dennis, because I think, just not me speaking for you, but I think your lens kind of connects to that just from what I see in the building with you. So I'll let you speak on what was your thought process going into the school year and where are you at now?
Initially, I have to share with everyone. Last year, had the opportunity to work with Jason, and we were able to take our school from a school that just met the state's expectations to a school that exceeded the state's expectations by taking a 9.8 jump on the school on the state report card. And that was a pretty big factor for us. It's been a long time since Brown Deer has been recognized that way. We had a huge celebration in it. So for me, it was not becoming complacent in the achievement that we had, but also not being a victim to the expectations that others would now place upon us, but still maintaining a high level of excellence. And that all goes down to how do we build our teams? We experienced a high level of turnover this summer, which is kind of a norm almost in education to some degree. And Mr. Love did a lot of work to help fill those gaps. So for us, it was starting off the year with realistic expectations and remembering, like, we had this celebration, we overcame these obstacles, but understanding we're a brand new team. So we're starting from square one. We're starting from how do we collaborate inside this building? How do we build trust? How are we all on the same page? Because that's when the miscommunication happens. And then there's pressure on the new teachers that are in the building, like, wow, you guys were this last year. We want to make sure you still make, and it's like, whoa, we're going to go slow in order to go fast. Because the biggest mistake you can do is take on too many initiatives. It's going to put too much pressure on you. So at this moment, it's how are we taking incremental steps to build those strong teams to meet the needs of our students, like Doc was saying.
And then for me, kind of like you just mentioned, with that turnover that we went into, my focus going into the school year was all hiring. It was just hiring, recruiting, filtering through, siphoning through all kinds of resumes and applications, because I knew what the winning formula was for us to achieve where we did. But then it was, all right, now I got a couple vacancies. How can I find the right people to fit in there? I didn't need necessarily master teachers, but I needed people that was willing to do the work, people that was willing to learn, and most importantly, I had to find people that could fit the culture and had those personalities to work with the team that we already had that was coming back. So it's kind of like a sports team when you're going into free agency, trying to find the right players to fit the system that you already have in place, especially if it's a winning system. Like, we wasn't going into a rebuilding year. We wanted to continue to stay at the elite level that we were, in a sense. So it was finding the right people, then doing the right placements and trying to place people. And now my focus right now, I hate to say it, is still hiring. I still got a couple more positions to fill. So we still interviewing. I'm still making phone calls, still trying to, even with the people that's in the building, if it's a better fit, what kind of shifts can we do even during the school year that'll benefit not only the staff members, but benefit our students and their families as well, so that focus still kind of stayed the same in a sense. But now, so we're oh, you got something?
I just want to chime in on one thing that you just said, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about making a shift that benefits students. And a lot of times, the thing that gets in the way of a lot of leadership in a lot of schools is we're not courageous enough to make the shifts that might make some adults uncomfortable, but will serve the students the best. And that's one of the things I'll say we take a lot of pride in our culture. We're willing to make those hard decisions and we reap the benefits at the end of the day. So, like, I salute you for, like, putting that puzzle together, because we do have a winning formula that we're producing at Brown Deer Elementary School.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, and it's kind of one of the things that I try to move by or live by. Doc was with me. We were at a professional development in Philadelphia. We were working for Universal, and they had us do this short reading activity, and we read about this tribe in Africa. And it said, it talked about this fierce tribe, but at the end of the day, they did everything for the kids, and they used to greet each other by saying, "How are the children?" And it basically, the sense was, if the children are good, then we good. No matter what's going on, if the kids are good, we good. And I adopted that. That was like one of the biggest things that stood out to me when we were out there for that professional development that I bring back now is, any decision I make, if it's going to benefit the kids, I know it's the right choice to make, regardless of how it might make me feel, my colleagues and some other adults feel. If it's going to make the kids either learn and achieve more or make the kids be safe, whatever it is, if it's benefiting kids, it's the right choice to make all the time. And I stand by that with whatever it is, whether we talking instruction, talking about behavior, culture, whatever it is that's going to benefit the kids is always the right decision to make. And now we're a month in, and now it's the thing, like, that's common in education, is hitting the wall. Going around, do we think that teachers hit the wall like had this lull period where things is just like, and everybody just waiting to go on that first break, on that first holiday break or long weekend. And if we do think they hit the wall, is that right about now? How do you feel about that, Doc?
I'm just going off my experience when I was in the classroom. And for me, it happened probably, I would say around November, December. I mean, you get that first taste of your first break where you need that time to reflect and you need that time and that space for you. I would say around Thanksgiving break. So around
Okay.
I wouldn't say like right around this time, right about now, which could be different. And this was all before COVID. Now I hear it a little bit different, just talking to some of my educator friends who are still in the classroom. For some of them, it's starting pretty much right in September, October. Is that what you both are seeing?
Yep. I would say
so like
you hit it. Yep, you go, Dennis. You got it.
I was going to chime in. I think it's situational to a certain degree. So like, for example, Mr. Jason mentioned like the staffing issues that he's still feeling. When you have staffing issues, that means other people have to carry part of the load. That can help you hit the wall a little bit sooner, especially as you're building your craft, if you're new to a building, if you don't have strong collaborative teams. But the other thing that like really makes people hit the wall a lot sooner now, especially since COVID, is unrealistic expectations. You start the school year off, oh, my room has to be perfect because we have parent night. And it's like, okay, you have 185 days that you have to make it through this. Stop trying to hit a grand slam or a home run every time you come at the plate. Like, you're going to have some strikes. You have to have the support around you where if you make a mistake, it's not a I got you moment. It's a reflect the moment, like you were saying, Doc. Take that time to reflect. How can I get better tomorrow? Whereas we want everything to be perfect because we're sitting here saying, last night I spent 2 hours making that lesson plan and it didn't go well. The kids didn't. Slow down. What did go good? What can we build off of? Take your time. I would rather you make mistakes today, early in September, early in October, and we're like in cruise control going into December and January and February versus we're just trying to force our way through things right now and not really learning in ourselves. And then we have hiccups down the road.
Yep. And then I would also say to kind of chime in on what Doc said. I think the pandemic played a huge role in when that wall is hitting certain staff members, because I think so many people during that time either got used to working from home or not working full weeks of school, and everybody hasn't recovered from that. In a sense, there's a lot of people that left the world of education completely during that time. But then it's the people that are there that started looking and they're kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out. They don't know if they want to stay or it's another opportunity where they can work remotely. And so that you got to think, before the pandemic, that option never really existed for a lot of people. Like, that was a whole foreign concept, but now that became a reality, and a lot of people they've adapted to it. So it's a thing. Dennis, you kind of touched on some best practices to try to avoid hitting the wall. Doc, if a teacher, if you're feeling like a teacher is about to hit that wall and you might be coaching that teacher or working with that teacher, what are some best practices that can help a teacher either prevent hitting that wall or just get through that rough patch?
I mean, I have a lot to say about that one. So first, I'll just start off, for example, when I was coaching teachers, and if a teacher said that this isn't the time, or it's not a good, I don't think I'm going to make it through the end of the school year. And sometimes you have to think about, okay, what if this was your child in your classroom? Think about that. Or what if this was your niece or your nephew or your cousin or your sibling sitting in the classroom? How would you want that teacher to show up? Because students are looking for their teachers to show up. So coaching a teacher that is just ready to give up and just ready to just say, call it and throw it all in. I mean, those are difficult conversations to have with some teachers, and just say, okay, let's take a look and let's see how I can help. How can I best support you? What is it that you need? Do I need to come in and co-teach with you? Do I need to step in and help you lesson plan? Do you want me to observe a lesson? How can we get through the rest of this school year if this is something that you're willing to do, if you can survive? So definitely taking time for yourself, one, and then number two, asking yourself, how can I get through this school year? And if you need some support and you need some help, definitely come and see who is there to support you at the school.
Okay.
Doc, I agree with you. One of the things I tell people when they're in that situation, though, you have to be very clear with me what support is, because it's a difference. And this is what I found, Jason, when people hit this wall. Some people don't really want support, they just want validation. So if you need me to validate you, let me know that. But hopefully on my end, I've circled around, I've been in classrooms enough, and I'm already hitting you with some positive feedback to build your courage, to build your morale up. But that's still like you own a big aspect of that. When you ask for support, though, you also got to be willing to take the support and take the feedback and implement it in order to get the results that you want. One thing I tell people is stop comparing yourself with a teacher that's been teaching for 10, 15 years down the hall that's considered the legend of the school. No, you
Right.
can't do that. Everybody wants to be like Kobe when they got drafted out of high school to go straight to the NBA. But everybody gonna remember it took Kobe some years to acclimate to the NBA game. And once he hit his stride, he was unbeatable. So we really put a lot of emphasis in helping teachers get to that 3 to 5 year period, just like you would in any other industry, because we know if we can get you through that, you're gonna stick with it.
Yeah. And then like from my standpoint is making sure you establish the right work-life balance in a sense. You got to know when the day is over, the day is over. Like, don't try to bring home everything. Some things can wait to the next day. Set a off time for yourself every day. Like, you're not gonna check emails after this certain time of the day. You're not grading papers after a certain time of the day. You're not connecting with parents after a certain time. Make sure you have some time to pour into yourself, whatever that may be. Whether you binge watching a show, you might be on a video game, you might play some adult sports leagues or something. Just find something that you like to do that you can just decompress just every night so you can be ready to face the challenges for that next day. Some of y'all bring home that big old bag of stuff every day. I see teachers with just bags. You a bag lady. Stop it. You're not gonna get through all that on a Tuesday night. That's way too much. Lower that down. Bring home just a little bit of stuff. You don't got to bring your
And this is
whole classroom home.
Can we also say this and just say teaching isn't for everybody? I mean, everyone can't do it. I mean, like DG, like you were saying, 3 to 5 years. If we can get you through the third year of education, that's really going to determine if you're really going to stick with it. 3 to 5 years. If you get over that 5 year hump, okay, you're sticking with it.
And I'm gonna chime in, and J Love, you challenged me on this, and I find it so funny that you said it. So I just want to say it here. I was one of the people that Jason challenged, like, what do you do for you? A few years back, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, my whole world is centered around education. I'm either reading a book, working on a dissertation, being a principal, trying to be a speaker somewhere. I just had the opportunity to speak to Dr. Russell's class this past week. Like, I'm always trying to do something with education because, like, I love learning. But then Jason, you, my kids, a few other people challenged me, and yours hit home the most. We were having a conversation in my office one day. He said, so take everything school related away. What do you do for you? And I'm gonna tell everybody, like, I couldn't give him an answer. So like for like the next week, that's all we talked about when we were talking in the morning. Like, all right, so what are you gonna do for you today? And you need that type of support if you can't give it to yourself. And sometimes that's where like strong collaborative teams are important. People can see the things you need help with that you can't see, but you have to be willing to take that feedback. I'm not sure I would be the person or the educator I am today if it wasn't for Jason helping me find that work-life balance. And it really started off like we started talking about anime shows like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. And then we both watched one together, Demon Slayer. Like little things like that. But like I appreciate he even went on the journey with me when I told him about one of the shows and he got into it. And like that became, I didn't realize at the time, a way to create that work-life balance.
Yep. Now, anything else on any last words, best practices for people hitting the wall? Anything? Any more life jackets and rafts we gonna throw out there to you if you sink it?
Number one, when you wake up in the morning, you brushing your teeth, tell yourself that you're great and give yourself some grace. Number two, if you can, and this should really be number one, have some type of spiritual connection if you can. For me, I pray a lot. For some people, that might not be your thing, but you need to be connected to something outside of yourself, I would say. And the third one I'm going to give you, what is your playlist? In the morning when you driving to work, what are you listening to? Now, I'm a gospel guy, but it uplifts me. It keeps me upbeat because I don't want to be down when I get into the building because people feed off of my energy. What are people feeding off of you? And like, let's be honest, music changes the game for everybody. So you should have 3 or 4 go-to songs where, let me play this because I'm going to turn up on my way to work. And when I go in, oh, I'm going to teach today.
Man, I'm not
And
even
Dennis,
going.
let me add your list.
Oops.
I'm going to add to Dennis' list and say number 4. I definitely think number 4 needs, you need to have some type of a social outlet, like you were saying, how you two watch shows and different shows together. But number 4, definitely having a social outlet, and don't let school and work be your everyday thing. And we already pretty much said work-life balance. So having that social outlet, and even if it's something that you're doing for yourself, by yourself, it's okay sometimes to be by yourself and having some of those quiet moments.
Last but not least, I'll add to that, do it for the kids. These kids are looking at you every day to come in and forget about yesterday and be a brand new you each day. So do it for the kids. Don't quit. In the words of Snoop Dogg, if you can't swim, you bound to drizzle. So don't just give up out there because it's rough. And, hey, you'll be lost. So do it for the kids. Also, speaking of that playlist, I can't share none of my songs from my playlist in the morning. They the opposite of what Dennis is listening to. I don't know how many crimes and how many drugs I done sold on my way to work from the songs I'm listening to. I'll be in a whole other mindset to get me going. It's a whole different kind of playlist. Then I just jump out and be professional. So that's different. But it get me going. It get me going. With that said, we kind of touched on our topic for the day. It was real light. This was a more getting to know us type of thing and some of the content that we'll continue to bring you in the future. We're going to get into some of our last words. Doc, give them some of your socials. Where can people find you at?
You can definitely find me on Facebook, of course, Instagram, Jeanette Russell. You can also find me on my professional website. It's called thereadingblockmke.com. You can also find the Reading Block MKE on Facebook. You can find it on Instagram as well. Even have a YouTube page for the Reading Block MKE. I also have my first children's book that's published. It's called Shampoo Day. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Target, Barnes and Nobles. So any reading platform. I'm also working on an instructional writing tool for teachers. So be on the lookout for that on that project.
I got to bring my copy of Shampoo Day over to get it autographed. I got a copy for my daughter. It's a great read. I'm not just saying this because I know her. Pick it up, people. You can't beat it. And I know the illustrator.
Yes, shout out to James Hayes for illustrating every page of the book.
Yep. I'm trying to follow in Doc's footsteps too. I'm gonna have me a book out here. I'm gonna have Doc help me out with that, so I can get me a book out there. Mr. Dennis,
you're ready.
Oh, I got you. Well, Mr. Dennis Griffin, tell them about yourself. Where can they find you?
Well, if you're looking for me, of course, I'm gonna be at Brown Deer Elementary, helping to ensure that our scholars soar every single day. My hashtag is here to make you think. You see it at the bottom of the screen. To be quite honest with you, I always love to challenge people to think, and there's a play on the words. In order for you to really hear someone, like I'm here physically, but if you listen to me, I'm gonna challenge you in such a way, you're gonna grow your capacity. It's gonna force you to think. And once you get people to start thinking, then you can help create change. I'm working on my doctorate, so I'm kind of took a pause from a little of the professional speaking, but I'm gonna get back on that circuit very soon. And I look forward to writing a couple of books of my own. But in the meantime, I'm just having fun educating kids.
There we go. As for me, first of all, I know when everybody's giving their background and they talked about their kids. So let me quick shout out. I am a married father of 3. I don't want nobody watching and be like, talk about the kids. Married father of 3. But now you can find me with Mr. Griffin at Brown Deer Elementary. Also, N.U.B.Y.world.net. I'm going to repeat it. N.U.B.Y.world.net is the main website. We'll be hosting this content as well as N.U.B.Y World on YouTube, as N.U.B.Y World on Instagram. I'm Fly95 on Instagram, Jason Love on Facebook. And with that being said, this has been a great session. Class is now wrapped. Salute everybody that made it this far. Please do us the biggest favor and like the video, comment on the video, give us some of your ideas, and subscribe to the channel. So like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll see you next time, people. Say thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. N.U.B.Y.net. Movie forever.